Okay, so let me bring you to a free clinic event. A 12-year-old boy lights up as he recalls his latest swimming practice. His mother, meanwhile, clutches a crumbled consent form, worry etched on her face. Across the room, a 28-year-old injection specialist demonstrates his injection skill, while the doctor sits next to him. Seems like he just bit into a lemon. Both have hemophilia, a rare disease that affects around 217,000 people worldwide, where blood doesn't clot properly, which leads to excessive bleeding. Yet their laughter explodes like fireworks in a room filled with clinical jargon and worry. So as you can see, the biggest battle faced by these blood warriors isn't just their physical condition. It's also the society's well-intentioned but overreaching protection. As a high school student navigating identity and belonging, I once thought that inclusivity meant ramps and fundraisers. But volunteering with those hemophilia communities, I've realized that true belonging means to challenge the rigid idea of being normal. These patients don't seek pity, and what they really want is to be recognized as capable of making informed decisions about their lives and bodies. They want to redefine self-worth in a world that often misunderstands them. So these patients usually face two intertwined challenges. Well, the first one is toward one's self-identity formation. A diagnosis can really shatter one's life in an instant. So consider that swimming boy who only discovered his condition after a severe injury that triggered several hours of uncontrollable bleeding. But instead of being met with clear and compassionate truth, his family chose to hide the result from him, which seems like they're trying to protect him from fear and anxiety. But it actually ends up with a really isolated and confused condition for the boy. So one day when he went to the hospital, he whispered to a nurse, "Why does mom always avoid talking about my blood? Am I broken?" That silence made him feel like he was a problem to be solved rather than a person to be celebrated. And the constant pain and shifting identity forced him to mourn the self he once were. But even when these patients come over the first challenge, another barrier still stands in their way, which is the society's well-meaning but limiting kindness. Before his diagnosis, the boy's swimming talent was celebrated by everyone around him. But once his condition was found, his teachers, coaches, classmates, everyone around him urged him to quit the sport, not based on medical facts, but out of fear. So the pool, once a symbol of strength and joy, now transformed into a reminder of his fragility. So here's a vital distinction for me to make. Avoiding all exercises isn't the entire answer. Well, many believe that hemophilia patients shouldn't engage in any types of activities because they think it might pose severe injuries. Well, high-impact sports do pose risk. The World Federation of Hemophilia proposes that controlled and adaptive exercises like swimming and biking can actually build strength, protect joints, and improve the overall well-being for those with hemophilia. And there's another example for the 28-year-old injection specialist. When he tried to apply for a job in the hospital, many assumed that he wasn't fit for the demanding role. But what they didn't know is that he'd been administered his own injection since the age of 8, and he had trained nurses along the way. So today, he'd become a really professional ER nurse. Of course, it's necessary for us to pay extra attention for those marginalized communities to provide them with ease. Overprotection, though meant to be helpful, ultimately isolates these patients and diminishes their hard-earned achievement. So these stories aren't just exceptions, they're patterns. The schools are labeling activities being too risky, and in home, they whisper about the diagnosis instead of share it in a public place. And workplaces usually mistake accommodation for concession. Today, all of these challenges underscore the need to both dismantle the internal doubts and external barriers, paving the way for true belonging, understanding, respecting, and empowerment for those with hemophilia. I visited the Rare Disease Alliance clinic where transformation isn't just a dream. It's really happening. Patients are not just receiving treatments from the doctors. Instead of that, they're leading medical workshops, hosting the No Filters Friday where they could express their struggles and harvest without the fear of being judged. And they also invite specialists and the experts specialized in the field to share the suitable activities for them to engage and to introduce the most effective nursing strategies in medicine to take in order to improve their living condition. Along the way, they're recognizing their own purpose and start to explore their infinite possibilities. But belonging isn't just part of their fight. It's our responsibility to redefine our living ecosystem. Nowadays, hemophilia has really become one of the most prevalent rare diseases in the world, so we have to pay extra attention to it. Imagine if workplaces, they replace, like, let me do this for you, or you are not suitable for this place. We turn it into, how can we do this together? How can we make up a solution that is good for everyone? Imagine in home, we no longer whisper about hemophilia. We turn it into a shared vocabulary where differences is actually celebrated rather than feared. Imagine in schools, what if teachers are teaching clotting factors alongside with photosynthesis, and gym teachers are adapted drills not for exceptions, but for creativities? So belonging isn't a privilege that we grant. It's a space that we co-create. Only when we no longer see resilience as extraordinary and to see it as part of the human nature, that's when we no longer deny or deprive their rights to explore their self-identity. And that's when rare or no longer mean alone. Thank you.